All right, welcome to another highly demanded and highly anticipated episode of Precision Hoops. We'll do quick intros and get into it as always. We'll start with Speem. How you doing tonight?
Semi-sober, sir. How are you?
It's good. Hoop God, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing great. Just got done watching Predator. Shit was crazy.
Love the movie. That's in my top 10 movies all
It's a
time.
classic.
But we're not doing movies again this week, so I thought maybe we just start off like easy and boring, and then as usual, we typically find other tangents and other avenues to go down. So maybe we just start with who do we think is going to win? Do we think Boston's going to repeat, or do we think someone else is going to step in and take it this year? Whoever
Let
wants
me.
to go
I'm
first.
gonna start. I'm gonna say Boston is not gonna repeat because their championship, while it was impressive, was like largely forgettable for whatever reason. And I don't think the NBA can take another beating like that in terms of ratings and just overall audience participation. I think last year's finals was an absolute snooze fest, and I hate to say it, but the Lakers not being involved in that, LeBron not being involved in that, not having somebody to root against, was a big part of that. So I assume if Boston does go to the finals, it would be Boston LA by some ref made miracle.
Yeah, so I'm kind of with Steam on this one. I wasn't really impressed with that Boston run. I mean, granted, hey, they got the job done. They're champions, but let's be honest. I didn't I didn't get that signature moment like Dirk in 2011, right? Or a Kobe in 2009, or a Michael Jordan in shit all six of his finals, or a Steph in 2022. Tim Duncan '03. I just did not get that feeling. It's like it was a foregone conclusion. First round, Boston's gonna win. Second round, Boston's gonna win. Third round, Boston's gonna win. Now, I would say had the New York Knicks somehow would have been able to avoid the injuries, I think that would have been a more entertaining series. Seeing that I think the Knicks matched up better with them because with the Pacers, I'm just gonna be completely honest. I don't know, like I expected them just to sweep the Pacers. Like, bro, just get them up out of there and get to the finals. But I don't know. I didn't get that signature moment or moments from anybody they played, and like Speen said, I'm sorry, man. That finals was just like a snooze fest. It just I don't know. I think Luca, the moment might have been slightly too big for him because when I think was it game three or game four, the game they won. I don't know why he didn't keep that formula. Like Luca, they want you to play more, from the perimeter. And I like, bro, go down there in the post, man. Get them in foul trouble. That way your other guys can get it going. But hey, they're the champions, but I don't see them. I don't see them repeating.
Can I
Yeah, just
piggyback off that, Nick, before you go
yeah.
real
Go
quick,
ahead. Good.
so
Good.
I can remember? Um, I'll bet that's why Tatum was so intentional in his post game speeches. When he was taking like every possible quote from every championship ever and putting it in his speech, because I think he was trying to make the moment larger than how it was being perceived. I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
and
ridiculous.
yeah, and so I mean, from my point of view, right? Like, I don't want to come off as salty, but I think the Celtics, they just dominated from beginning to end, and it's it's almost like a credit to them that they made it so unforgettable. And also the fact you could say, well, maybe they just had an easier run than usual, right? It could be a combination of the two, but also, again, this is why I don't want to come off as salty, but the Mavs were on, in my opinion, they were on fumes. They had, I think, a much tougher road, bigger highs, bigger lows. They go through OKC and Minnesota. Uh, and like this is one of the knocks I have on Luca is just when it comes to the 82 game season and then getting into the playoffs, he just and it's probably has something to do with management as well as him, but he just goes into the playoffs not fresh, right? And that's a little on his part. He needs to maybe lose 5-10 pounds or whatever, but he also plays the style that he does. It's probably on management to get him some rest if possible. But the Mavs, Kyrie too. Kyrie was having an off series. He had an off playoffs, really, to be honest with you. He had some good moments. He definitely won a game or two for us there, but he was off the entire playoffs, right? It just felt like the got Dallas at the right time. And again, I'm not trying to make excuses, right? A win is a win, but that's why I think it's so unforgettable. It was just it's a credit to them, and also it's a knock. Like, it was just domination front to beginning or beginning to end. That being said, I don't think they're going to repeat either. I just am a betting man. I'm sort of just fading the repeat, right? It doesn't happen that often. Jaylen Brown's got this little hip flexor issue. Again, it's early, so I'm not really banking on that. They do play a bit of a small ball. I don't, Kristaps, for again, talking as a Maverick with Porzingis, right? That guy's very hard to rely on. Again, he can be absolute dynamite at times if he can get it going and stay healthy. But who knows if they can rely on him? They have a small ball team, and I know that's the way you do it right now. And the Warriors kind of won doing that too. But I just think eventually they will run into a bad mismatch or something of that nature. Again, Jaylen Brown, I really do think is kind of like the two-way motor of the team. Again, he won the MVP, the Finals MVP last year, right? So I mean, that speaks volumes about how good he is. But I'm just going to mainly be a betting man here, and I'm just going to kind of fade the repeat from just a historical perspective.
In the East, I don't see anybody, especially with Milwaukee just like being bottom of the barrel all of a sudden. Well, not all of a sudden. That's what happens when you sign, Dame Dollar.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't see any. I certainly don't see any team beating them in a 7-game series. Not in the East. It's and it sucks because Jason Tatum is such an entertaining player to watch, but there's something about him that is just, to me, is just a little bit off.
I have a hot take on Tatum. I'm going to say real quick about Tatum.
Yeah.
I think he is a glorified Klay Thompson. He has a little bit better in terms of creating his own shot off the dribble and whatnot. But remember, Klay was a lockdown defender, an amazing three-point shooter. He could score in bunches. Maybe didn't quite have the offensive, well-rounded game that Tatum has. Tatum can score from kind of anywhere and create a shot. But I just think he's a little bit of a glorified Klay Thompson, right? He can do a little more, but in terms of that two-way ability and everything he does, I honestly kind of see them in the same light, right? I think Klay at his prime was a little bit of a better defender, I would say, not by much. Obviously a better shooter, right? But that's kind of my hot take on Tatum. And that's not a knock. I think Klay's a well-rounded, great two-way player, right? So, I mean, one of the best to ever do it.
No, that's an accurate comparison. I can definitely see that.
Do you think, so now that he's on your squad, where do you have Klay in terms of, just to get off track here a little bit, where do you have him in terms of all-time shooters? I'd like to know that.
Got to be top 10 easy.
Top 10. I was thinking more like top 5.
I was gonna say top 5 right off the rip, but I kind of said top 10 to be safe. But statistically, yes, top 5 easy, right? Like in terms of statistics, man, yeah, he's got to be top 5. I mean, okay. You have Curry. Who else are you gonna throw in there? Reggie Miller. And we're talking. I guess when we say shooters too, we're probably strictly kind of talking 3-point shooters here.
I think you have to almost.
In terms of straight 3-point shooters, it's got to be those 4 guys. I would think.
Reggie, Klay, Steph, and Ray Allen.
Yeah, with Klay being the obvious. I mean, Curry being the obvious one, and then kind of depending on your style, maybe you can make an argument for the other 3 to be 2.
We should come back to that because I'm curious to see where people have Ray Allen in that conversation. But getting back to Jason Tatum, there's just something he has like a try hard kind of thing to him, and I think that because the story over the summer was him being snubbed over with the Olympics and all that, I think even with his crazy, crazy contract, I think he's going to feel slighted, and I think he's going to shoot himself, and he's going to shoot Boston out of a bunch of games this year. Um,
So you
I'll wait
think
and
the
see about
ego? You
Jalen
think the
Brown.
ego's gonna get to him, huh?
I do, man. I do, and not to say that he doesn't deserve it, but I mean, never. No, he doesn't deserve it. Actually, I take that back. Like I don't know. I don't have him in any like pantheon of any offensive anything's really. You know.
Yeah.
No, he definitely tries too hard. I see that. I'm like okay, in the closeout game, like bro, y'all already up by 25. Like, why are you out here playing like the game is within 5 points? Like, we know you trying to get the Finals MVP. Like, just oh yeah, I'm just like just go out there and play ball, man, and then just
Sounds
let
like something else. Someone else we know.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do kind of like that he has that chip on his. I like that he likes to revel in being doubted, even if it's a little fake at times, right? You know, I kind of get that, right? You need that motivation. You're always looking for that little edge, but yeah, sometimes it does come off a little corny and a little goofy and a little try hard. I will admit with that, but it's not as egregious as some other people we talk about a lot, right? So you know, if he wins a championship, right, all is kind of forgiven. I won't like kind of jump down his throat about it. But yeah, if he wasn't winning, then it would look a lot worse.
I still think Jordan is the only, at least basketball player that I've seen that his motivation seemed genuine in terms of hating another team or hating another player. I feel like these days when these guys talk about motivation and they want to kill the other team, it never feels genuine. Especially when they're shaking hands and trading jerseys at the end of games. Um, so to hear like this manufactured the world's against me stuff and all that, it's just like, I mean, is it really? You guys finished up top three in the East like every for like the last decade. Who's really going against you?
Yeah. Do we have any other crazy or not crazy, but any predictions in terms of rankings or where teams might fall? Any surprises? Any dips?
I think my lowest hanging fruit theory is, and I don't know where they'll fall, but I'm thinking is if LA does get to the playoffs, my money is on them playing Memphis in the first round because that would be a ratings treasure chest, especially with John Morant coming back, and they'll probably get Bronny on the bench, and John Morant chirps a lot, right? That team chirps a lot, and I forget it was last season or the season before, they were getting in LeBron's head. He was sitting there talking about, we're too classy, let's play ball, blah blah blah, and it's like no, like they're getting up in you. They're not like bowing down to you. What are we talking about here? Desmond
Yep.
Bain, John Morant, those guys, they're killer. They're killers as far as I'm concerned.
More so, yeah.
Yeah, there was. Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you picked up on that. I
Yeah,
worked hard for
so
that one. Thank you.
I was gonna have Orlando in the top three for the East, and with this Blancaro injury, that's kind of cooled my Jets a little bit on that one. Unfortunately, they look horrible without him, but I was also gonna have him as possibly a first team All NBA selection this year. I did really think I'm a big believer in him. Last year we had done rankings. I had Orlando as one of my surprise teams as well last year, so I've been high on them for a while. But that was going to be one of mine. But the injury, he's going to be out for like a month. I think it was. It's something. It's a little longer than I would have thought. And if depending on how he comes back or if he re-injures it or what have you, right? It just kind of doesn't make me feel so good about that one. The Houston Rockets, though, were another team. I had them in the play-in last year at the 10 seed, and they missed it. I think they finished 11th. I didn't expect them to be number 4 right now, but that's another team I had in the play-in again this year. I think they're exciting. They got a good core. I think their youth will eventually kind of be the death of them in a tight series or game if it comes down to that. But I think the Houston Rockets will shock some people this year too.
All right,
Anyone else?
he gave his turn up. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
So
I'm getting my life together.
no,
I'll
you're
get
good,
it.
bro. You're good. So as I'm looking at the standings, first of all, I didn't know Cleveland was undefeated. That's insane.
Yeah,
The Rockets are 4-3 though, so even with them at number 4, it's nice. But when you look at the
they could
records,
easily be 11 or 12.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
right. I mean, the West does that every single year.
Hmm.
So I, I think the league needs the Timberwolves in there. I think they need the Nuggets in there. Um, I think we're going to see a Wemby playoff sighting if he can stay
Yeah.
healthy this year by
I
some
I don't
miracle.
I kind of was expecting him to get better or make a big leap. I thought they'd be even better last year than they were even in his rookie year.
Hmm.
And they just kind of never got it going, or I mean, he still looks amazing, right? But I've just kind of soured on them too. I don't know. I think they might be a year or two away again. I've said it before, they have a good kind of contract and salary set up right now. And they did that on purpose the last 2 or 3 years, right? In my opinion. So, it might be another year or two they're away from making a move or two, maybe another draft pick hits or something. But I've kind of soured on them. I kind of feel like they're not going to make the play in now, but
Oh,
it's kind of like who's going to fall: the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Nuggets, the Rockets, maybe. Like I think there's enough teams that are better than them. They won't make the play in.
even with Chris Paul, I mean, I know he doesn't win like the big game, but you think his addition would be enough to get you at least a play in?
Yeah, and he's still dropping like double digits assists every night. He's still, don't get it twisted. He's a great player. It's just he's not in the big games or can't seem to get over that hump.
He's damn near
You know,
42, isn't he?
yeah, I don't know. He's old as shit.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I don't know. You would think, right? He would be a good kind of veteran mix to that team to get them going, but it just doesn't seem like they can get any wins together. And Pop had a health scare or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
recently, and
I don't know why
so
he's still coaching.
Sochan's gonna have surgery on his thumb. So it just seems like they couldn't get out the gate enough to maybe put a play in spot sighting together.
Greg Popovich is a national hero, and I think it is time for him to hang it up. I mean, his wife passed away a few years ago, right?
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so, and he every time I see him out there, I'm like, this man looks like a maniac. Why is he still doing this? Like, he has so much anger and just like animosity to everybody that's not in a Spurs uniform. It's awesome to see, but it's like, man, like he was an entire era for me, or not era, but
No,
the
you
better
could say
part of a
that.
decade. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
As a
So,
Mavs fan, I mean, fuck, like
right, right.
Dirk might have another ring or two if it wasn't for the Spurs.
Yeah. And I hate seeing him go out like this. Not, and I don't even think he would perceive it as a failure or anything like that. So I think it's like my own opinion, but I'd like to see him just even for his own health at this point. I mean, what are
Do
you
you think
frustrating
he's hanging
yourself
on for
for?
like one more good year? Not necessarily a championship, but just kind of like maybe even a play-in win or something like that.
I hmm, even I'm gonna be hypocritical to what I just said. I don't see the Spurs making said run in his lifetime, let alone
Yeah,
his coaching career,
yeah.
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is sad.
respect to Coach Pop, but I'm kind of with y'all. Like he might want to consider hanging it up at this point.
Now, I had also said in our last show, I know Milwaukee's 1-6, but I still think they make top 5 in the East.
Oh,
I know it's early, and maybe that's a hot take, but
who are they leaping?
as long as they stay healthy, right? I mean, like the Wizards, the Hornets, the Pistons and Hawks could fall. Like Magic could fall without Blancaro. So
You
that's
you
kind of
said
that. I know now that one seems a little crazier. But I said that on Sunday, so I'm gonna stick with that one too. I just think they're too good in the East to not make some kind of run at this thing if they stay healthy and everything like that.
so. Another piece of this though is that because the NBA is so dependent upon storylines and narrations, there really isn't much going in the East in terms of that. So I could see Milwaukee. I could see, Giannis being, framed as the villain, bad guy, what have you, and them making a real push, maybe getting in that top 5 or 6 seed. And now you have an angry Giannis who's just like, I'm done. I'm just gonna go to the paint, and you guys are gonna have to foul me. And then you might see, at the very least, maybe some, an entertaining, second, third round. But as currently constructed, the top 6 is Cavaliers, Celtics, Heat, Knicks, Nets, Bulls. There's no like sexy pick. There's no hot, take that is going to bring the crowd in, right? Whereas when you go to the West, it's like, man, you got the Lakers, the Warriors, the Rock. Like, there's all these teams that have all these storylines that actually have to do with basketball that, at least in my opinion, are like, genuinely interesting.
Yeah, if someone was asking if I said AD was going to miss a month, I was saying Paulo Banchero. It's Banchero, right? Or Banchero?
Banchero, yeah.
Yeah, Banchero. He's going to be out several weeks with the torn oblique.
Man.
And I know it says several weeks, but I think that's probably going to be at least a month.
Is oblique, is that upper body or lower body extremity?
That's like your side right here. Like your love handle.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah, so that's a weird one, like.
Yeah. He may not want to rush
dyeing his hair blonde.
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's a good point. Like, when I saw the Lakers game, I saw D'Lo. I'm like, bro, did he cut his hair? And like, he's dyed it blonde. I'm like, okay, why? Like, why?
It's a sparkly dude.
I just don't get it.
Another ranking or rating. Scap had said the Golden State Warriors would finish top 3 in the West. I was pretty adamant that they wouldn't. What did you guys think of that?
They've lost one game.
If they're playing like this without Curry, and they pick up a nice free agent that can come in and like fit that system, that's highly possible.
Who's that free agent? Scott? Who's that free agent? Who do they sign? Who do they trade?
I'm looking. So I know nobody in the West is gonna help them, right? So if I'm looking at the East, possibly I would say the guy from the Pacers, Turner. He's a big man. He can stretch the floor. He can also be that rim protection to help out with Kevon Looney, right? But I'm just speculating, like, because I didn't see this with the Warriors. It's highly impressive.
AOH is the biggest Kevon Looney fan ever.
Yeah.
He loves that 6'7" frame.
We can post the link. People want to call in.
Yeah, especially since I don't think anybody. Well, we didn't even leave a lot of time for people to call in last week or whenever.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about getting it out a little more early as well.
Yeah.
The thing about the Warriors, they have a horrible cap situation. So,
okay.
They'd have to move a few pieces, or pull something off, right, to get that. So you'd have to be getting a guy you really think is going to put you over the top. I was wondering about Buddy Hield too. He's leading them in scoring. When's the last time a bench player led a team in scoring like this deep into the season?
That's indicative of their Golden State system. See, you can come there.
And Curry's been out too,
right? And then, like you said, with Curry being out now, his volume is going to go up. It's going to give him more opportunities to make more points. And I'm quite surprised Wiggins has been playing as good as he now. I don't know if he's going to stay, because he's just so up and down. But if you got a Wiggins that's locked in, hey, watch out, man. Golden State might be trying to get that drive for 5 might be serious.
All right, we got a caller.
Oh, that was fast.
How you doing, D Davis?
What up, sir?
You got a comment or a prediction for the season coming up?
I'm in agreement with Golden State Warriors being a top 3
in the West.
Yeah.
I feel like I might be a little in the minority on that one, but I feel like they're gonna fall a little bit.
I was watching their preseason stuff, and like they look good in the preseason, and they're playing the Celtics right now, and they're doing damn near full court presses and traps, half court traps and stuff. So they're doing old school stuff. So
Can they
but
beat the Thunder in a 7-game series?
probably not.
Oh,
Probably
okay,
not.
interesting.
But they could be a top 3 team in the West. Like, you know, the playoffs is, I mean, the regular season, it ain't what it used to be. So they'll be a top 3 seed and might get out of the first round.
Oh wow,
So
okay.
I'm not saying they're gonna go far in the playoffs, but they'll be a top 3 seed and bottom out, you know.
Do we think the Suns at number 2 in the West
That's not staying.
that's not staying?
Devin Booker's he's a paper hero, man.
I think a lot of people are gonna. I think a lot of people think they're probably gonna fall.
Yeah, it sucks watching Kevin Durant just kind of transform into this slender man guy that just doesn't get the respect he deserves for being such a
I
great
feel like
offensive
Luka
player.
broke. I feel like Luka broke Booker. Like he's just he's never
That
gonna be
meme,
the
that
same
picture,
after
you
that.
talking about that picture
Yeah.
when they were up by like 75 points? Devin Booker was looking all pissed off.
Booker was like, my career is never gonna recover from this.
That's what he gets for
I'm gonna
holding up
say
a
this.
picture after a loss.
Until they fix that point guard, like no, they're not gonna threaten anybody because I've said this. They don't have to have a top 10 point guard, but you have to have a true floor general, you know, who can go out there and create for those other guys. Because KD, he can get his own bucket. Devin Booker and Brad, they good. You can get your own bucket. The point guard gets the other guys going, and until they solve that problem, they're not going to be a threat to anybody. I'm sorry, I don't.
Can I add that I definitely agree with that. And you need a point guard just to because their offense is you take it and if you score, cool. And if you get hot, we'll run with it. But that don't work in the playoffs. Like
No.
that's gonna get shut down in the playoffs. They need a point guard that's just gonna set the offense if they have an offense and run it whoever gets an open shot, that's how you play. But
do they make a move then for a point guard, traditional point guard? Because I think Bradley Beal to this point is again just like it's cool you put buckets up, but what do you know when it matters? What are you doing?
They need a Drew Holiday type. You know, if they're going to try to run that type of offense, without somebody like a Drew Holiday who can harass your other team's best point guard, shooting guard, something like that, like they're not going to. Like I said, to me, they're going to be a first round team at best because with KD getting his own bucket, okay, that's my turn, your turn, but okay, who gets the other guys going?
So that means Grayson Allen's out of there and probably Bol. I could see Bol going to the Lakers. I could just as another big man.
It's crazy. The Suns have paid him like $50 million a year to average 17 and 18 points respectively last year and this year. That's just nuts.
When you watch him play, it's so impressive. It just doesn't translate to winning. It's the weirdest thing ever. Even in Washington, watching him play, him and John Wall.
Yeah,
it was like these guys are so great. Why aren't they winning in the terrible East?
I was going to say that's Washington. Like,
well,
that's Detroit area.
Yeah.
Like, so somebody got to score.
Yeah.
When you go to another team, what can you do?
Yeah.
Really?
The problem with them in Washington, their IQ was just so low. And then John Wall, like as great as he was just a horrible jump shooter. Like his jump shot was just, I'm like, bruh, you guys get paid millions of dollars. I mean, all you got to do is just get a shooting coach and be like, look, I just need, I need to be able to hit this 12 to 18 footer consistently, not necessarily threes, but be able to hit that, that long two, just on when the play breaks down or if a team is daring you to shoot. And it was just like, and then he was streaky, but his jump shot was just so inefficient.
What was the name of that guard that had that hitch in his shot? Maybe about
Sean
6-7 years ago. No, he was a guard. He had like some kind of mental thing going on where he just basically forgot how to shoot.
Is that like a guy and he'd bring it like way off to the side and he'd like kind of like hesitate like that? But I feel like that guy was more of a big man.
No, this was a guard. He was like a number 1 or number 2 draft pick.
Lonzo Ball?
Markel Fultz.
Oh yeah,
Markel Fultz.
Markel
Yeah,
Fultz.
Markel Fultz. He can shoot now. So you mean to tell me he can shoot,
That's my
but these guys
thing.
can't shoot?
That's my thing. Like I've seen guys actually, get with a shooting coach and then come back and be able to shoot. I mean, look at Gilbert Arenas. Like when he had his breakout year, he even got a shooting coach, and that's all he did. He just got his shot up, got his shot right. He came back dropping 60 pieces on people.
Yeah, Washington had some hitters, man. It's disappointing to see where they went.
Do we have any predictions on MVP?
That's a fantastic question. Let me look at the teams.
It's like I want to say Jokic, but if the Nuggets don't do well this year,
I hate to say it. The league, because of all that BS that Kendrick Perkins pulled, talking about white MVPs, this and that. I don't think we're going to see another MVP from him. I think they gave him it's 3, right? Not 2, because it would have been 3 in a row. Yeah, they gave him his 3, and I mean, look what he's doing this year. It's silly what he's doing. You know what I mean? But I don't see him winning an MVP. I think the league is too scared to do that, quite honestly, especially with all this anti-European talk. But that's just my opinion. In terms of MVP, I haven't seen anybody just like stand out. Yeah, Luka would be great. I could see Luka. Yeah, that's true.
No, I mean, what I hate about Luka is like at the age of 25, people already had voter fatigue on him. You know what I mean? And he's like, he hasn't won anything yet.
It's because he started playing at like 9 years
voter
old.
Fatigue. This is crazy.
Anthony
Davis might be a dark horse.
Not if he ain't not if he's not
repeat that every year.
Availability is your best ability. I think that's been AD's biggest knock too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, he's got to stay healthy and play.
Can I play AOH for a little bit?
Yeah,
please.
Do you know what AD would have to average for him to win MVP with LeBron on the same team?
60, 30, and 20.
It would have to be Wilt numbers, something crazy. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, no, you know what? Point. Hey, Davis, and I hate to say it, but yeah, LeBron not going to let that happen.
Ain't happening.
Trying to look up some MVP lines real quick.
Can I say Tatum? And I was just boo-booing on him in the comments, but I think he's been putting up some numbers thus far.
Getting out the gate. Yeah, I think he's definitely a favorite.
Tatum's sitting around 3rd right now.
Who's first?
You got Shea, Luka, Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Jokic, Giannis, Anthony Davis, Jalen Brunson, Wembanyama, and Ja Morant. Those are like the top. Was it like 10?
Having Ja Morant in that list is silly. And at this juncture, having Wembanyama in the list is kind of silly.
MVP considerations?
Yeah.
Well, they got him at number 10. They have him as number 10 out of that top 10. I mean, his odds are long shot, but yeah, he sneaks in at the top 10.
So if he's at 10, then who goes in instead of him? Because I wouldn't have him in the top 10. But at the same, did you say Booker at all?
Nope.
Or KD?
Nope.
I feel like one of them would be more likely to be an MVP favorite.
Hey, not to digress, but yeah, Golden State, they giving Boston the blues right now. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Good.
I'm watching live. Boston's down 2.
It's 2.
Unless they're about to score here.
I mean, it's close, but like from what Boston's been doing with other teams, it's like, yeah, Golden State is giving them a lot of problems. That's because Golden State, they don't play threes and layups.
Yeah, and the Warriors also play a little bit of a small ball with an athletic, 4 playing the 5 thing.
You didn't mention Jalen Brunson, did you?
Yeah, Jalen Brunson.
Oh, he's on that list?
At number 8.
He should be top 5.
Oh, Lord.
That's too low.
That's way too low. He's responsible for an entire city's coming up.
I mean, he got the Knicks out the second round.
Yeah.
Like, when is the last time the Knicks got out the second round?
When's the last time they got to the playoffs?
Well, out the first round. My bad. He got them out the first.
The last time was when Whoopi Goldberg was coaching them. See how many people.
And then the NBA Cup's starting in a week as well.
Oh, I'm psyched for that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, what I hate is how like the Lakers hung a banner up for it. And like if it wasn't for that, the fact that the Lakers won and everyone's making such a spectacle of it, like I'm all for it. The NBA ratings are down, right? Like I don't think it really takes away from anything. Like I'm just kind of saying, like, all right, you want to roll the dice, you want to kind of let's try to do something here, right? I wasn't like a hater of it, you know what I mean? I like the courts too. I was a fan of the courts.
does the NBA dare not give whatever team wins the same festivities and glamour and like let's say I don't know Houston wins it, like do they have the balls to be like, oh that's nice, keep going?
Jalen Green is on a trajectory we've never seen before.
Right.
Yeah.
Weren't we just saying that about Tyrese Halliburton? And what's he doing besides
Yeah.
getting weird haircuts? Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I doubt they give it the same hype. They definitely seem to love that LeBron won that. I hated that they did that.
That was disgusting. That was like
Yeah,
such
it
a
was really
disgusting
bad.
display.
It was really bad, yeah.
It was like a fever
All right.
dream.
I have
What
another
they-
prediction I've made before, but I'm going to say it again. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think there is a legitimate chance that Bronny James could make an All-Star appearance. That
We need
they will
to
somehow
wrap this
finagle
up.
votes in for him. It'll become a
Really?
feel-good story.
The fan
Really?
I
vote.
say at the minimum, I'll just finish with that. I'll say at the minimum, there will definitely, I think, be several headlines or stories or articles written saying something like, should Bronny go to the All-Star game with his dad? Like something like that. I think that's going to be a thing. That's like
Nick,
probably my
Nick,
most out there prediction.
we're not.
I
we're
would
not,
say that
not having any more charity cases. Just him getting on the court in trash time is enough.
if LeBron announces this is his last season, that's a possibility.
Mm.
So
That's-
those votes are determined by the fans and the press, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we went over this before. Remember, I was like, I don't think that matters too much. Like, if the press is in on it or they think it's a good story to write about and it's going to get them clicks, they're in on it. The fans,
insane.
if they buy into the feel good story, they're in on it, right? So I think I see a real avenue that if they wanted to do it, that it could happen.
So he would have to take, just like the Lakers, he would have to take a roster spot from the All-Star team, right?
Maybe they make an exception. I don't know.
Oh,
You know
get
what I
the
mean?
fuck
Who
out.
knows?
Oh,
Who knows?
listen, I'm not watching basketball ever again if that happens. I
We'll have
promise
13
you.
players for the West.
I promise you, I'm done watching basketball if they make any kind of exception for Bronny James playing in the All-Star game, as he's currently. Now, granted, like, if he starts averaging, 18, 9, and 9 or some bullshit like that, then all right, cool. But if he's still doing the, 1 point a game on 6 minutes, you can't, like, at that point, like, Congress has to get involved or something,
format? Do they still do the player draft format?
Yes.
No,
They did it last year, though, didn't they?
I think they went back to East-West last year.
Oh, that was 2 years ago. You're right.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though? They had the player draft. LeBron would definitely draft his kid, and no one would probably. I mean, we obviously like we wouldn't like it, but like people would be like, well, he can pick whoever he wants. That would have been interesting. I think that because that would have gave him an out of just being like LeBron gets to pick who he wants. Like there's nothing we can do about it.
Start the investigation now.
Yeah. That would actually been kind of interesting. I would have loved to see him draft his kid just for like the hoopla of it.
But
Hoopla.
the legitimacy of the All-Star game, I think, has been in question. To me, I remember a couple of years ago, Giannis coming down on a fast break. Steph Curry is one-on-one with him, and he just lays down.
Yeah.
Flattens himself out.
And I said, this is over. I don't know what year this was, but I said, whatever year that was, it was a few years ago. I said, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have enough pride to just fake it. Don't lay down.
Another hot take. I'll bet you they don't. I have a feeling the dunk contest won't happen this year.
At all.
At all.
Dude, I
It's
still
been
get hyped
on
for the
the
dunk
slip.
contest. I don't know what it is. Like, I can never get enough of a dunk contest.
Last year was like all-time bad. It might have been the worst one I've seen in my lifetime.
Even the bad ones, though, I'm just if I see one or two just like cool dunks, or I even see you attempt a dunk, you don't even make it, but it's new and original. Like I'm such a sucker for that stuff.
the 3-point contest seems to be all the rage now.
Yeah, the game's changed. Yeah,
Yeah.
people
Oh,
really want to
definitely.
see it. Man, they should do like a old timey 3-point shootout. You know, with like vets, like retired vets. You know, old time shooters and stuff. That would be kind of
Like
fun to
Steve
watch.
Kerr.
Yeah,
Get
that'd be
Steve Kerr out
hilarious.
there. You know what? Actually, to your point, you should take credit for that because like a Steph Curry versus Steve Kerr 3-point contest that would bring
Yeah,
people
yeah,
in.
like a team. You know how they do they do like an NBA, a WNBA, and a retired player. You
Yeah,
could do
yeah.
something like that, like Jason Kidd and Luca. That'd be pretty funny.
That's a fantastic idea. You should, like, I'm
Yeah,
not being sarcastic. You need to hang on to that one. That's a great
right into the
idea.
league. Yeah,
Yeah, right,
I'd be
right,
right.
right to the league. Right to the league right now.
That would draw. I feel like for the fans like us, like if the older players came out and did whatever in the All-Star games, like I think we would watch that. Like,
100%. Yeah.
but have y'all been seeing this what's been going around on the internet that Ronnie versus Angel Reese? Have y'all
No,
been seeing this?
No,
Oh,
what is? Oh,
is someone like throwing up money for it?
I saw it a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, the week before, and then I saw a flyer for it today on Instagram. I was like, wow, okay.
Well, I know there's there's kind of that more conservative sports outlet Outkick with Clay something, and he got all in behind I can't remember who it was, but they said like the boys national championship high school team versus any female players you want to get, right? And he like said he put up $1 million or something like that
I
on
remember
the
this.
boys. Yeah, like
They
he was
wouldn't take it. They
serious.
wouldn't take him up on it
I
because
want
it would be
to,
nationally embarrassing.
Oh, and
Unfortunately,
that's how you know it's all fake. Because like if they really thought they could do it, I would almost say if I could get the best 8th graders in the USA or in the world, 8th grade boys, I think it's about an even split. It would be pretty even.
they are like 6'5", 6'6" these days. So
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
I remember being in 8th grade and seeing plenty of kids dunk and being like, Jesus Christ, like what am I doing here?
I don't think there's one. I don't think there's one instance where I see a professional female basketball player beating even semi-professional basketball player. And I'm trying to be kind of delicate in my wording here, but it's like I don't see it happening, and I don't see it being close. So
Yeah, I
if
mean-
Ronnie's playing Angel Reese, he's categorically faster, stronger, jumps higher. It's not even fair, really.
I saw Kendrick Perkins and Chris Bosh play in the 4A Texas State Championship. You know what I mean? Like, and they
Yikes.
were almost NBA ready at that point, right? I think he went to Wake, and I forget where Kendrick went. But yeah, like
to the
there's no
league.
way. There's just no. Kobe came out of high school, right? Like KG came out of high school. Like these kids are. There's just
Luka's
no
been playing
way.
since he's 7.
Yeah, like there's just no way in any world that a professional women's team beats a high school boys team.
That and actually that conversation factors into the whole WNBA needing the NBA support and how come nobody supports them and this and that. And I know that's a separate conversation, but if the WNBA was to start embracing the idea of even like a 3-point contest against NBA players, that's going to buy them so much clout, as the kids say. And
I would
it's
love
going
to
to make
see
them more relevant.
I would
They
love to see a
did-
regular female male 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I would love to see that.
No, they did that the All-Star game last year.
Yeah.
Curry against somebody. One
It
of them
was
were-
Curry against somebody. You're right.
Somebody
Yeah.
on this-
Curry won.
Ionesca.
Yeah, Ineska, however you say it. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
So I also do think the Mavs get back to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not going to say they win, but I think they get back. I think they're deep enough. I think they might have the best 8-9 man rotation in the league. I know that's a lot. That's saying a lot. They're definitely top 5, I think. I think they're a matchup problem. I said this before against like Minnesota and the Thunder. I just think Lively and Gafford as a 2-headed monster is a good matchup for the Mavs. Again, against someone like Boston, it's a bad thing. It was a negative. It went against us. But against someone like a Rudy Gobert or Chet Holmgren.
Oh.
I think those two guys offer a matchup problem down low and inside that I think that's kind of largely why we won last year. I think the Mavs get in the West. I think they're a good matchup. They have good matchups in the West. I think they get back to the Western Conference Finals. I feel like that's a little bit of a hot take. That's my homer take too, but I do have like objective confidence they can do it.
I don't even know why you mentioned Rudy Gobert. It's difficult watching him this year.
Or even like a Karl Anthony Towns last year, right? Like any kind of big man or guy, a team that plays a big man. I just think those two, like they just cause a lot of problems for guys like that. I think if you go straight small ball against the Mavs, I think that's where we get killed on the perimeter on like a small ball team.
Does your squad make any moves this year?
Yeah, the Mavs. Yeah, we got Clay, we got Najee.
No. I mean, moving forward, like going into the All-Star break. Like, do they come up off any of these players they have? Do they make any moves?
I don't think so. I only because we made a lot of moves this year. And that being said, though, Nico Harris, I've praised him a ton since he's joined the Mavs. Like he really has just been all the difference. He got Kyrie over to us. He got Clay to come. So who knows what he'll do? That guy will sniff out a good deal, I think, no matter what. So with him as our general manager, I'm not sure, but no, I don't think we will. I think we have a good roster. It's constructed well. Again, if an opportunity comes along, Nico Harris, he'll definitely take a look at it. Right. And I think he's also of the mind of me. I do not think NBA draft picks are worth that much. Like once you get out of the top 10 or 15, that's just my opinion. I will easily trade draft picks to get a known asset or like a starter or a bona fide 6 man or something like that. I've always been a fan of that. It's just because it's a much smaller league. And so if you can get a guy, is NBA worthy, like without a question, right? I think that is once you get out of the top 15, I think I like that more, kind of setting up my team, getting something I need versus hoping a guy turns into a starter in the NBA outside that top 15. So that being said, right, like again, he might, who knows, like he might find something to do or work a deal, but I don't think we will. Oh, AOH is here. My bad, man. I hope you weren't back there too long.
Who cares? Who cares?
You could have put it in the chat too.
It's all right. I'm polite and patient.
Hey, wait, how you doing, sir?
Hey, there's no way that was your first time seeing Predator.
Oh, no. I've seen it several times.
Oh, you said it like you'd never seen it before.
He definitely said it like it was an event.
Time.
Like he went to the movie theaters to see it.
What's up, gentlemen? Just wanted to say hello.
What you got? You got any predictions coming up? You want to get off your chest?
Well, it's all about entertainment now. It's not about the integrity of the game. I think the Lakers are going to sign the Undertaker, and he's going to come in. They're going to have the fireworks and the fog and everything, and it's going to sell tickets, and that's all that matters.
It's going to come out of a casket.
Yes.
For every game.
And
oh my god!
And the Nuggets are gonna have the Ultimate Warrior is staying. I can't.
So whenever the Undertaker, he draws a charge, right, and he'll be on the ground, then the audio guy will hit the dong, and he'll pop back up.
He'll raise back up, and then Kane will get signed to Memphis.
I mean, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you sell tickets.
Yeah.
Can we be serious? Can y'all be serious?
We can try.
No. Savannah want to hoop. That's what's going to sell tickets.
I can see it.
Savannah want to hoop.
But you guys did get me. I did have a scary thought. You talking about the Celtics and everything. If we're writing a script for LeBron's career, him as a Laker going against the Celtics on his last year, how scary is that? And they're not going to let him lose. Woo, shit.
Oh my!
The free throw differential thing, if it remains a constant, I don't see how you don't have like some kind of like league office investigation or something at this juncture. Like I don't understand how you don't have all the other owners kind of like banding together and saying, it was cool when you guys were trying to hide this, but now you're just doing it and you don't care if everybody knows.
Add it to the list of things that don't make sense.
Isn't it the most egregious though? Other than the flopping.
That would also be an interesting. What does it take for an investigation on something like that to be launched? Like, over half the owners have to agree to it, or what is the?
I wonder. Know.
I'm just curious. I have no idea.
See if I can
How many times has LeBron James's name or an affiliate been named with the drug allegations and no investigation?
Yeah, LeBron has openly owned a sports management company and employs NBA players for like 10 years.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's his best friend. LeBron has nothing to do with it.
My bad.
Come on.
Thanks for the correction.
That's why we're here.
The story behind that guy is still what baffles me, that they met at an airport and he was just selling knockoff jerseys. And that's like how they met. And then from there, they just grew this empire. Like, that whole thing just kind of is like.
Seems fabricated.
I don't know, man.
I ain't never bought this story.
No, it's like an episode of Power. It's bullshit. Because LeBron was in trouble back then. When he was wearing all those throwbacks. I think it was a West Unseld. It was a West Unseld throwback, and everybody was like, "How'd you get that? Like, your mom doesn't work, and you guys are supposedly living check to check." It was around the same time you got the Hummer and all that.
The Hummer with the rims.
Yeah,
yep,
exactly.
That's what I was about to bring up.
Even back then, in 2003, 2004, I was like, "Yo, something's not right with this dude." Even back then.
They want Rich Paul to have a he made it on his own story, coming from nothing.
Which will never be true.
He's probably one of those private school dudes named Clarence.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is he was doing arbitrage on these jerseys. He knew he could go down and buy them a lot cheaper and then sell them up in Ohio or something. So it's like you gotta have to crunch the numbers and know what you're doing sometimes to do stuff like that. Like, you can't be a total idiot.
How is it? This just occurred to me. How is it that the 76ers get investigated for Embiid's non-back-to-back, but the Lakers never get investigated for the clear LeBron sitting in games he knows he's going to lose and playing against teams he knows he's going to ball out in? How is that not investigated?
Didn't they say something about an age rule? Like,
that was for him.
Right. So they'll probably use that as the answer to your question.
Ugh.
Damn,
he's the king. Like, why would you ask a type of question like that? It's the king.
Another hot take I have, and it's completely out of nowhere, but whatever. I could see the Ball brothers being on the same team and them playing against LeBron and his son, and that being a thing, especially with LeVar Ball being so open about especially with LeVar Ball and how open he is about LeBron's treatment of his son. I think that's got, narration written all over it.
Man, I fell off the LeVar Ball train right when it probably got good and he started talking about LeBron's kid. I'm gonna have to go find all these clips now.
He was right. He ended up being right about all of it. He has two sons in the league, and they're both. I mean, Lonzo is an above average player by far, and Melo is, man, if he ever becomes like an offensive threat, starting putting up 30, 35 points a game, I don't know. He could be the face of the league. He's so fun to watch. Like, he's a dickhead and all that, but he looks like he's having fun out there. You know what I mean? Every time you see him play, he looks like he enjoys it. He's not all pissed off and yelling at everybody.
Yeah, and there are guys like him, like when they're on and they're playing, they make it look so effortless. Like, he really looks like he's going at like half speed when he's healthy and he's on, and he is fun to watch. You're right. He is impressive sometimes.
Will it be a historic moment? Will that be the first time that two brothers are playing on the same team?
Unless
not in the league.
No. There's got to be some brothers who have played, right?
Yeah, Curry brothers played on the same team.
No, Giannis and Thanasis.
The Bears.
Oh,
yeah, Giannis brothers. Yeah,
I forgot about Thanasis.
I don't think LeBron wants LeVar Ball with a microphone in front of him.
Never.
Because he'll be talking about Leangelo's better than Bronny. He'll say something wild. So if Bronny's in the league, Why not LiAngelo? So
he ain't lying though. LiAngelo is better than Bronny.
yeah.
I was gonna say there's no question. And LeBron, he's not going to even step to LeVar Ball because LeVar Ball is a threat to him because he won't bow down to him. It's not like he's, it's not like some fan that he could just kick out of it. Like, no, LeVar Ball is going to be like, yo, you kind of failed your son here a little bit. And he's going to say that in front of millions of people. LeBron can't take that because he's not going to do anything about it. Just like he didn't do anything to Isaiah Stewart the other night. Perfect opportunity to get his get back. Didn't do anything.
Well, the Lakers are only 4 points behind Memphis. That's without Anthony Davis. So I heard you guys talking big about Memphis. I do not. I think Memphis is. I think they're pretenders personally.
They're number 10 right now. Tied for 4th, though. If you wanted to say that,
I brought them up in the sense that I could see them being, a good series against the Lakers.
You think that's a better ticket?
Their skin.
You think that's a better ticket than the rivalry that's developed between the Nuggets and the Lakers and giving LeBron his revenge?
I think it's 1A, 1B, honestly, especially with
was Memphis and Lakers that game that Shannon Sharp was on the sideline?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because his steroided ass up is going to be on the sideline for all the other games.
He's all natural. What are you talking about, dude? He played in the NFL.
He takes pills. He takes steroids.
Yeah, for sure.
All I know is
him and LeBron share the same doctor.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
What were you saying, AOH?
I said I just know that somehow Shannon Sharp couldn't see Steven Adams. Steven Adams was ready for it, and Shannon Sharp was like talking to all the little people behind him.
All the small people, yeah.
Yeah, just like Draymond Green. Yeah, he'll pick on the smaller guy, but he won't pick on Tristan Thompson.
Shannon, Draymond, and LeBron, they definitely belong hanging out together.
AOH, what's it going to take for your team to get rid of Draymond Green?
Fuck, apparently. What else is there?
Well, who goes first, him or Kevon Looney?
I'm one of the people that is not a big believer in Kevon. I'm not sure what
I mentioned it earlier.
About. Did you?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You did mention Kevon. Kuminga. Kuminga's the other one that people are all hyped about. I'm like,
Dang, y'all have Draymond this year and the next 2 years.
What's his contract? Do you know? Money wise.
25 mil a year, 26 mil a year.
Oh my gosh.
See, the thing is, Draymond plays hard against everybody except for the Lakers. All of a sudden, he forget how to play back.
You have to be suspicious. I mean, you just can't feel confident with him on the team going up against LeBron.
No.
Him and Nurkic. Those are two guys where I'm like, yo, whatever team they're on, if they're playing LeBron, they're going to fold in some way, shape, or form.
Nurkic is something else.
God damn. I don't get him at all. And he's a clutch client, by the way.
Yeah. That.
Who, Nurkic?
Nurkic is, yeah.
Oh, wow.
That thing on Rich Paul.
It actually, and if you think about it, Clutch as an entity should be investigated because it's clear as day what they're doing, right? LeBron clearly uses his influence to bring players in. He's done it. The AD thing was the most blatant thing I've maybe ever seen, other than
they paid a fine. They didn't.
What was it, $500?
They didn't get away with it, but like, who gives a shit? Like,
it was like $500, right?
Or it was something pretty pathetic.
Yeah. Or do you remember when the Clippers locked Blake Griffin in the hotel room because he was going to go to I think he was supposed to go to Dallas. It was supposed to be Dallas, right? Because Mark Cuban was all pissed off.
Oh, I don't.
Nick, that was your squad? You guys were supposed to get either DeAndre Jordan or Blake Griffin.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan. That's when they locked him in the room or whatever.
Really?
Where are we that's acceptable?
What?
That's like,
are you kidding me?
Dallas is so cursed with free agents, right? And that's just another story of like, it feels like we always had a guy on our radar and we could just never get him. So then we just end up overpaying for the next best guy, which is never good.
So Ja is 2 of 8 right now.
He can't shoot.
25.
Oh yeah, no, I was wondering. I was saying if it had ever happened before, Goran and Zoran Dragic, as well as Marcus and Markieff Morris, played
2 sets
of brothers on 2 different teams that played
Those
at the same time.
Those are great names. Goran.
They played against each other on the same court.
Hey, how many offensive rebounds do you think LeBron James has
total for the season?
Tonight.
Or in this game?
8.
Tonight.
Hey.
Zero.
What?
Zero.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, I figured.
8.
0.
How many did he have against Detroit?
He can't even get one
my
or
bad,
two.
My bad. You said offensive. My bad.
He's got to get at least one, right?
No, he's gotten 0 several times already. Ja has 0 too. I mean, it's a thing now.
It's a thing.
The Nuggets Lakers AOH is I didn't think about that because in the playoffs those games were great to watch. That rivalry was great to watch, but it seems like the Nuggets lost their like luster or something.
Yeah.
You know?
I almost don't want to see it just because I don't think that the Nuggets will win it this time, and I don't want the Lakers to have the satisfaction. But as far as selling a ticket, yeah, you want to see that 3 times. I mean, the league has a terrible time getting rivalries now. That's as close as you've got.
That's an interesting point. What are the rivalries in the league right now?
Everyone's buddy. There are no rivalries.
I think Memphis and LA is a rivalry. I do.
What?
No, well, not because one's better than the other, but those two teams hate each other.
Yeah, but like think about Dallas and the Clippers. They played like 3 times in 4 or 5 years in the playoffs, and that's barely considered a rivalry.
Don't a lot of teams not like Memphis?
I've never heard that before, but it makes sense.
I haven't heard that one either.
They're douchebags.
The East still has rivalries.
Who?
Boston, New York, Boston, Philly, Boston, LA. I guess it's Boston against everybody, but
New York's barely
New York, Philly, they still have a beef.
I feel like that's more like a historic though than more recent times. Maybe I'm off on that one.
I'm kind of leaning more your way on that, Nick.
And definitely historic, but unfortunately, the NBA hasn't been doing any historic shit. So recently,
fair enough.
What's his face? The dude that said he was depressed because he can't shoot. He plays for the Nets, right?
Simmons,
right? He plays for the Nets, right?
Yes, on the Nets.
So if you get like maybe like a Nets Sixers series, I could see that putting some butts in the seats. You know,
what? May the most depressed team lose.
Yeah, seriously, because like Joel Embiid is such a disappointment, just like overall to me. And it's sad because in his prime, I just feel like, man, this dude should be MVP all the time. But he's always damn hurt, and he's weird, and he still does the DX thing, and you can't trust people that still do that. And he's like, I don't know. There's something off about him. It's like his heart isn't in it or something.
There's a lot off with him. I did a rant today. I did a rant today in the members section just on his ridiculousness. I read, you know that guy who got shoved by Embiid?
The reporter? Yeah.
Yeah. I went and read some of his write-ups about Embiid, and I was like, wow,
is it pretty negative?
Yeah, it's critical, but it's spot on. I mean, Embiid is raping Philadelphia.
Yeah, Embiid hasn't played a game yet.
Oh, that's right. He hasn't played a single game. All he's gotten is fines.
He's played 50% of his entire career.
That's a bad GM situation. Because you double down on that with Paul George.
Paul George,
terrible.
He's a pretender. Ever since So my theory is, and this is another hot take. Do you guys remember when Paul George dunked on Birdman in the playoffs? It was one of the craziest in-game dunks ever. And then LeBron came down and hit a 3. And they at the buzzer, they dapped each other up. I truly believe when they touched each other, LeBron infected Paul George with something because he's been a dickhead ever since. Ever since that and the Gatorade commercial that they gave him.
Man. That's all I can think about when I think about
Nick?
Paul George. The broken leg in the Olympics. Man, it sucks because, Paul George was really balling out there for a while, if you remember. Man, he could do it all. And
he was balling out in Indiana,
that was
too.
Nasty, man.
Ugh. Oh, I don't even like thinking about that. That one and the Sean Livingston injury are just ugh, gross. Someone asked in the chat, "Is Paul George better than Carmelo Anthony?" And that's a crazy question to even pose. No disrespect, Paul George. He's so disappointing.
Historically, like obviously Carmelo probably has a better legacy right now. But man, I like Paul George's offensive game. I think he's just offensively, I think he's one of the better players out there. He's a little underrated offensively.
Offensively, is he better than Melo? I can't say yes.
I feel like Melo is a better scorer, volume scorer. I think Paul George has an overall better offensive repertoire, like through the three levels, right? Like I think he can do a little more. I think Melo's just a straight up 18-foot turnaround shooter, and he was good at it, but that's kind of 90% of his bag. I feel like is just kind of a jump shot, and which is fine, right? Dirk made a living off of it. I'm not complaining, but I just feel like Paul George can do a little more, probably a better ball handler too.
Definitely,
yeah. Depends on kind of what you mean, but that's how I would break him down.
There's just something about Paul George that doesn't bring me any confidence if I'm cheering for his team, seeing him out there. There's just something really soft about him.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Even when he was with the Pacers, I just didn't really believe.
No.
I'd feel more confident about Carmelo. Carmelo's got a little bit more dog in him, I think.
Yeah,
Lance Stevenson had more dog in him when they were on the same team. He had more dog in him. He wasn't better, but at least he was out there getting in people's faces and stuff.
Deshaun Stevenson, world champion Maverick, 2011.
Deshaun Stevenson, he was the LeBron stopper for about 4 minutes. Right. For about 4 minutes.
Part of that team. Okay.
Can I say this? The observation when Carmelo would face LeBron, I think he was one of the best LeBron defenders in the league whenever they played. And I would say to myself, why don't you do this like 80 times a game during the playoffs, 80 times a season and during the playoffs? Like, because that was unbelievable what he did defensively against LeBron. Like, he looked like a totally different defender. Like, do that more. And I guess that's what made him not a champion and others champions.
I forget. Did he win Rookie of the Year or LeBron?
Nope, it was LeBron.
LeBron.
It was LeBron? Okay.
I know why you're confused, because Melo should have gotten it.
Yeah, that must have been what it was.
Melo had better stats in a harder conference, and his team had a better record. It's like, I don't know.
There was no reason that LeBron should have won that award.
But he's the king, though. He's the chosen one. I don't. Are you confused?
He's the chosen one.
Right.
Yeah.
Hoops God, are we going to get to see your face? I'm serious. I came here to hang out with my friends.
Oh yeah.
He called us his friends. You hear that? All right, I made it.
I want to look at your fine Bo Derek ass. Dude, I love your hair. I hope you know that.
I sincerely appreciate that.
It's getting uncomfortable.
Anyone got any other predictions or anything?
I see Chet Holmgren balling out. I see Chet balling out. I think he's tired of the Wemby talk.
Oh yeah.
I think he's coming for blood.
They've been hooping here lately.
I think I put a small bet on him last year to win Rookie of the Year, because I think he was up for it. He was able to win it or something because he got hurt.
He got hurt his
year or something. Season. I think he was actually an option.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that ruling that if you get hurt your rookie season and you come back, like when Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year over Donovan Mitchell?
You a Rookie of the Year, you get drafted.
I agree. That's how I feel. Like, shit happens.
Yeah, you get to the pros, you kind of have to keep things official, in my mind, right? So it's kind of like your rookie year is your rookie year, and then that's it. Yeah. You're not a rookie anymore. It's unfortunate. It sucks, But then, like, they should just win Most Improved or Comeback Player, right? If they do good enough. Like, if you were good enough to win Rookie of the Year, you got hurt, and you come back and have a good second year, just give them Comeback Player of the Year or something,
I love the comment that's up on the screen, because weren't you all butthurt on Sunday, Nick?
Hey, I put that up there. If that's what it's his opinion, that's fine.
Just another awful take.
What didn't you also say? Didn't you also just say ignore the people in the comments?
Well, I mean, you put it up on the
It's a compromise.
screen.
It's a compromise.
All right, describe to me Trace Jackson Davis or Kevon Looney stopping Chet Holmgren or Anthony Davis.
Hey, Looney's got 6 fouls, man. He can do some. He can hurt somebody.
Is that the best
That's
explanation
I'm
going to
get? I'm not. Listen, I like Kevon Looney because he seems like a nice guy, but he's like
Okay.
6'7", getting bullied by everybody, and like you can tell he's trying. He's trying his heart out, but he's Anthony Davis is a great player almost solely because of him. So I don't see that. I don't understand why you guys still have Kevon Looney. I hate to say
you're a Warrior fan. Do you think they're going to finish top 3 in the West? That's what Scap had said Sunday.
No, I heard you guys talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Some of you said they will though, didn't you?
Yeah, well, they all think. I think everyone else thinks they will. I'm the only one who doesn't.
They can't.
Wait. AOH is like, do I agree with Nick or do I say he's got a bad take?
I mean, how they finish the regular season is a different conversation than them going into a series. They don't have the size to handle a series.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Before we go, did they? So I know they announced the cup tournament or whatever. Did they announce the games?
Yes, I know I've seen some. I don't know if they've announced all, but I would assume they have.
I can't.
What made me think of that is I saw on the TV they had shown some of the first games what they're going to be.
Okay, I'm trying to look it up right now, real quick. Because even the way they decided who was in the tournament was so convoluted, you couldn't understand it. So I'm trying to see.
My bad, I was half high. I was like, why is he talking about soccer for a cup? Like,
yeah, I know.
That's foreign to me in basketball.
Hey guys, I'm gonna bounce.
I'm definitely in the minority. I'm okay with like the play-in. Not that I like it, but I'm just not like a hater of it.
Well, are you talking about the cup or the play-in?
Oh, I mean the cup. Sorry, yeah, the cup. Sorry.
Okay. Are you a fan of the play-in?
Not really. I think if you make that the top 8 record, right, I think you should get in. Like you should get the opportunity to play a full playoff series against the first seed, So like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'm against it, but like does it really bother me? Do I think it's like altering the history, of the NBA or like really affecting things to such a degree? I guess not. So it's not like it's like it keeps me up at night, it doesn't bother me. I wish they would maybe stop tinkering with things, but I'm not, dude, you're sitting up in the front office like we got to get more views. Like, what do we do here? Like I kind of get the desperation a little bit.
Like AOH said.
The Lakers have another pretty pathetic group that they're in. Unless you guys think that the Spurs are going to turn something around all of a sudden, then the Suns are the best team in their group.
The Thunder's in their group.
No.
That's what that's what it looks like here. It says Thunder, Lakers, Suns, Spurs, and Jazz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It says a lot about the game when you have to put so many gimmicks on it for people to watch.
I agree with that too.
A terrible state of the game and society, I guess. But
absolutely.
You never had a problem when it was Kobe and those other guys because they competed in the All-Star game. Like that always had outstanding ratings, but like now it's just a layup line. These guys don't want to go out and compete, and it's sad. Like a play-in tournament, a pup cup. Like what the hell is going on here?
You got to wonder if we're witnessing the end, but we can't tell yet because the NBA had become so great that now it can still survive several years with people just hanging on to what it used to be. It's possible that we are watching the end.
It's just so big though, right? I mean,
yeah.
I feel like it'd be a slow demise more than like an off a cliff kind of thing.
That's my question. What does the end look like?
Yeah, it's just going to become something else. We're going to have the Undertaker coming in from one tunnel. I mean, they're bringing in money, but it is not the competitive sport that originally brought in fans. It's become something else, and everybody's accepting it because there's money. Viewership is down, but there's money, so it's all forgiven.
So Paul Heyman is going to be a GM with his urn.
We're gonna hear JR when someone gets dunked on, like, good God, he's broken in half.
Almighty.
That man has a family.
With so much talent out there, there's basketball players and people that can hoop. If somebody, this would be the perfect time where somebody, if they had a lot of money, to start a rival league.
Yeah, someone had talked about that too, but I just think there's too much of a farm system already in place, like with Euro ball, international ball, college. I think there's already just too oversaturated in a way already.
That plus the endorsements. You have to think about the endorsement side of it too. You think Nike's going to let any of its athletes go play in a rival league? No way.
Hey, Reebok might.
Well, that's because Reebok is Reebok, and Reebok signed Angel Reese, so they'll do anything. They haven't been relevant since Allen Iverson. So,
but there's a yearning for competitive basketball.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't have any. The NBA is not doing it for us, and college basketball isn't what it used to be. So, what do we really have? The big three?
The big three. Those guys ball out. When you see them play, they play hard.
Yeah.
And they're like 50, 60 years old.
All right.
But it's not 5-on-5. So
we're kind of winding down. So I had one last prediction that I thought would be fun to talk about. What do we think of Cooper Flagg? And the only reason I say this because I was kind of reading some articles about predictions, like people think he'll be the #1 pick, something like that. So I was just curious, what do we predict for Cooper Flagg if he stays healthy?
Guys, I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to put you in the headphones and listen to you. Good to see you.
All right. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take it easy.
Peace.
Definitely #1 overall draft pick. I could see him getting hurt, though. Knock on wood. I don't want to put that into existence, but he's got to put some weight on. You saw what they were doing to Chet. He wasn't moving anybody, So #1 draft pick.
The Bucks are tanking to get Cooper Flagg.
Do you really think that?
I mean, if we really think this is such an outlier, because I'm like, I can't believe they're this bad. I mean, the Sixers maybe are tanking to try and get him. Who knows, man? Doesn't seem like anyone in the West is tanking, though. So it's the usual suspects down there.
You said the Bucks are tanking?
The Bucks are 1-6.
Oh, Doc Rivers is the coach. Huh? That's because Doc Rivers is the coach.
Then they hired Doc Rivers on purpose because they knew he'd suck. So they could get the #1.
That's got to be it.
But no, it was just interesting to think about who we could land on, right? I mean, maybe the Jazz might be the best bet,
The Sixers and the Bucks tanking for anybody has to be like the craziest fall from grace ever. You know what I mean?
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I was just gonna say, wasn't it LeBron saying Cooper's the real deal or something like? Was that him who said that? They had that scrimmage before the Olympics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my favorite. What made me officially, I'm done with Embiid, was after I saw him try to bait a foul against Cooper Flagg on a fadeaway from
I remember that
18 feet away, and he falls down. And it's like, it's a scrimmage, man. Like, come on,
get up, get up.
But yeah, I've been following him for a while. I like to try and follow high school kids and recruits. I mean, I don't do it as much as I maybe should, but yeah, I've been watching him for a while. I mean, I know we talk about like Luka and like Jokic, right? And they're not American white guys, right? So there's still just a little bit of that barrier, right? But yeah, if he could be the real deal, I mean, maybe he is the ratings savior, we've been looking for. Do you think he could be that good?
I don't see that at all.
No great white hope.
He has that draw, unfortunately.
I haven't really heard him talk. Have you heard him talk?
Yeah,
Or
he's just kind of like a dude, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't. I do not anticipate a big a ratings draw from one player outside of maybe Anthony Edwards again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Is he real? Is he really tall? I don't know too much about. Like I'm unfamiliar with him.
Cooper Flag is
like,
very. What is he 7?
I was gonna say I think he's legit
something.
7 foot.
Yeah, 7 foot, I think.
Okay. That's
And
always an issue with those 7-footers, I guess.
Oh, he's 6'9". Okay, he's not quite
what?
7
Oh
foot.
wow, he looks way taller than that.
Yeah, because he's kind of wiry. Yeah, but he does move well. I mean,
Yeah,
he's very physical too, even though he might not have quite the frame for it. All right,
I don't know.
We can end it on that. Any last minute predictions or hot takes?
This Bronny All-Star thing, I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
I will cash app you some amount of money if you end up being right. I don't know what I could afford just yet, but yeah, if that happens, I will pay you, Nick, and I am then done watching basketball.
Period. I know that is a long shot, but it's one of those things where it's a long shot, but there's a realistic, I think, way they could do it if they wanted to.
I would say watch out for Houston.
Yeah.
Houston can make some noise.
I agree with that. They whooped my Mavericks the other night.
Yeah.
Jalen Green's still on that team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hoop God, you got any parting words? Predictions?
Yeah, man. Jalen Brunson, Luka Doncic, those are my dark horse MVPs. Realistically, it'll probably be Shea if he has anything close to what he did last year. My top 5 or top 3 teams: OKC for sure, Dallas, Boston. I'm kind of like leaning towards the Knicks and then Golden State. So,
all right,
Knicks. Cool.
Well, I'm gonna lead it off with as always, my